Oh yes, for sure. And so this is the reason why I'm so passionate about having big-hearted women, men, individuals learn how to invest their money, because I want you to have a seat at the table, or get as close to the seat at the table as possible. Yes, there are things that you can do without having a seat at the table or being close to the table, by protesting, by using your money and, you know, putting it to businesses that align with your values. But as far as wanting to change the trajectory or wanting to change the direction of organizations and businesses, is by having as close of a seat to the table as possible. So example of this is, you know, I have stocks in QQQ, and so and I received this letter, okay, and what they want is they're basically, you know, making some changes, and they want to hear from investors. Well, if you're not an investor, you're not going to get that letter. If you're not an investor, they're not going to care what your thoughts are, what your opinions are. And yes, of course, there's going to be a part of you that says, well, I've only had this many shares, whereas this other person has a lot more shares than I do, which means they have more say. Yes, and at the same time, we can't change the direction of where companies are headed if we ourselves do not place ourselves into these seats, into proximity where these tables are. And so my hope, my heart and desire is that I honestly feel like the people who need to have the seats at the table aren't playing the game. They're not even willing to engage. And I understand that, how hard that and challenging that is, because I know from this comment alone that you're someone who has a big heart. You're very conscientious of what is happening to the world at large. You're a very conscious human, okay? But we want more of you. We want you to have a seat at the table. We want you to get as close to the table as possible, so that way your voice matters. And so when you have shares within companies, and when they make changes, or, you know, just different policy changes, things of that nature, you get a say, you get a vote. But if you're not anywhere close to the table and you don't bring yourself in proximity to it, it is very hard then to have those changes take place. An example of this that we can look at right now is even farmland and what's happening with farms, where it is going from, you know, individual farmers to more bigger investors, right? And there's also a lot more crowd funding, right? Through different programs, different private sectors that you can then invest in. But if you're not an investor, you don't really have a say in how that works, how agriculture, how to farm the next generation of agriculture. And it's taking place right now. And so in order to have those conversations, because the thing is, yes, you can continue to support small businesses and with your money, but at the same time, at the end of the day, we all need food. Okay? You're not going to just starve yourself. You're not going to, but what we want is for voices like yours to matter to these big corporations. And that's how they matter, is by getting you to getting yourself a seat at this table, or getting as close to the table as you can, so that way you're like, I own a share of this, and this is what I believe. And the more people, I'm willing to bet that if you're someone who's conscientious, that you probably have a bunch of friends who are also that way too, who has a network of friends who are also thinking similarly. And so that is how we begin creating a culture of change. Another thing you could do, of course, is like research companies that you feel really good about. And you can become an angel investor for them. And you can invest in those companies. Just know that when you are an angel investor, that there is a higher risk. Like, I'm an angel investor for different companies. There is a higher risk to being an angel investor. It's not like doing an ETF, EFT because emotional freedom technique practitioner. And you don't have that broad investment portfolio where you can account for risk, because when you are an angel investor, you believe in the mission, you believe in the vision, and you're basically helping them to fund them from the ground up. But there's no historical data, there's no historical rates for you to play off of, and so you can go that route as an investor. That's something I do, but that's not something I would say start off with if you are not investing yet. Instead, I want you to consider, that's the thing, just consider reframing how you see investments. Consider how it is that by you being in proximity to the table, that your voice then will, not that your voice doesn't matter, because it does, but more so how it matters to these organizations, because at the end of the day, they value profit. At the end of the day, they care about their investors, and the more individuals we have who have a big heart, who are very conscious of the world and humanity as a whole, the more I do feel that we can change the direction where a lot of these companies are going. I hope that was helpful for you. Please let me know if you have further questions.